Alrighty, guys, welcome to tonight's charting session. Hopefully everybody's doing well. Happy Monday. We're going to jump into the charts today, talk about what we're looking at, and talk about the trades that I took today. I took 3 trades today, all at the gym. I know it kind of sucked. We didn't take anything on live this morning. I didn't really see any high-quality setups that I liked, but I did take 3 setups later in the PM, so we'll talk about those. I was at the gym during them. I did alert one of them. This one here got stopped at break even, and then I alerted the next short there that ended up selling. So I had 2 wins and then 1 break even trade today. We'll go over those, talk about what I did right, what I did wrong, talk about my bias going into the day, and then, of course, any trades you guys took as well. And then we'll talk about what we're looking at going into tomorrow and the rest of the week as well. So, first thing, going into the day, my bias was very, very loose, right? We were at a point in time where we knew we could really continue higher. We could possibly sell off. There wasn't really enough structure to give us that bigger time frame bias of what we wanted to do. So my whole bias going into the day was basing it off of whatever the internal structure was going to be. Now, there was a really nice long setup right before market opened here. NQ ended up having that manipulation during the morning session. We ended up coming up, sweeping this internal buy side. Again, after all this accumulation, this becomes the power of 3, accumulation, manipulation. We got distribution back to the downside. We swept this internal sell side level before having an SMT. And then, of course, right when market opened, we got displacement to the upside, pull back to the imbalance, market opened, and we immediately pumped all the way back to that buy side level. Now, the reason I didn't take this long is because personally, I don't like entering a position right at open. If I am looking to trade something pre-market, I want to have some sort of cushion and area to enter in whatever the model is before market opens, because this could have easily, right, had this initial move to the downside, swept this internal low before having that move up, right, because there was really no clear manipulation before that. So I just kind of was being patient. Again, going into the week, I wanted to be extra patient and kind of see what we were going to do going into the morning. So the morning ended up rallying all the way to buy side and then immediately dumping all the way back down to the lows, taking that internal sell side. From here is where, again, like I said, I expected to go lower. Most of the time when we have a big straight up move and then immediately back down, the first move is most of the time the manipulation. So a lot of the time when we had this move back down, there were some of you guys thinking we might go back to buy side. But at this point in time, I most likely expect to go back to equilibrium, possibly OTE, and then continue the trend towards those lows, or again, rebalancing price on the bigger time frame. So we sold back down, rebalanced again back to this 1 minute fair value gap that I was watching, or not fair value gap, sorry, order block that I was watching. You can see we ended up rejecting this, selling back off, moved back higher. There could have been a possible short entry here. We did have an SMT on the lower time frames. Let me zoom into the 1 minute here. Zooming in when ES and NQ ended up taking this side. Oh, actually, did we? I don't think we had a SMT here, actually. Never mind. I take it back. Took this internal low, selling back off. NQ moved its way back up. Yeah, didn't really have an SMT here, actually. This is why I didn't take this trade. Didn't really see much in this area. Could have been a possible short from here, especially after this displacement move, moving back up to this order block. There might have been, I want to see if there's a smaller time frame imbalance or fair value gap that might have been nice. We did come back up. We had this 15-second here. We swept internal, got displacement. This would have been not a bad short in this 15-second fair value gap after we rejected that pullback to OTE after this price leg down. Keep in mind, we had all this generated sell side down here. You took that? Yeah, this would have been nice here. We had this generate sell side again. Once you notice where the stacked equal lows are, right, you can recognize the clean draw on liquidity of where price is most likely going to draw towards. We moved back down, again, creating the new low of day, continuing to displace lower. And the first trade I took was actually a long, and I got stopped in profit here. My initial price target was this first high right here. And the reason I took this long is because we ended up coming down. We had an SMT here at these lows. You can see this previous low here. ES ended up making lower low. NQ ended up making a higher low. Once we ended up displacing through this high, I noticed this is going to most likely become the breaker, and I wanted to catch. Now, again, the reason I'm not setting all the way back up here is because there is still the possibility that this just is going to be a move higher to generate more buy side. There hasn't been clear manipulation. There's no reason on the bigger time frame we need to bounce here, right? All to the left of us is an imbalance. Like this whole move to the upside is an imbalance, and it's a lot less likely for us to move back higher when we're not in discount of this range, right? Once we get to discount of this range, it's going to be a lot easier to understand when we want to start to move back higher, and that's why I'm going to be still bullish going into tomorrow, which we'll talk more about. But after this initial move here, I was just looking to see this move to the upside. And really my sign to get out is I was waiting for displacement or an imbalance to get ran through. So we had our move up. I took the pullback into the breaker as well as this little order block right here on the 1 minute. Stop was at this recent wick low. We started moving up, moving up, moving up. Had this initial pullback down here. Once we ended up coming up and breaking high of day, I want to see price really start to push through here, right? I want to see volatility. I don't want to see us hesitate. I want to see us go fast through this area. When we ended up coming up and rejecting this 1 minute fair value gap to the left here, and we immediately started to reject, and I saw these imbalances right here to the left get ran through, I took it off. So I took off my position at this low around, and my stop was originally at break even, but I knew we were most likely going to sell back off. So this was around where I took it off here when we ended up dumping on this move back here. I took it off in profit. I knew I was most likely going to get stopped at break even, so I took it off, decided to just take what was given. And again, let the market just figure out what it wants to do. So at this point in time, we start to get displacement, and this becomes the bigger time frame breaker, right? We're zooming out to the 3 minute or the 5 minute. We notice we have this order block to the left of us, these two down close candles. This becomes that breaker. We end up rebalancing, again, back to OTE of the previous range. We get displacement to the downside as well as this 5 minute fair value gap, right? This becomes that unicorn setup. I alerted those shorts. Now, the problem and the mistake that I made today is there was no reason for me to take this off. There was really no reason for me to be, again, I was focused on capital preservation going into the day, which is not bad, but there was no reason for me to really get stopped at break even here because the model still looked great. The model still looked great, and we were just about to open up in the previous macro. So right when we get the displacement, I enter long. When we end up moving back to OTE and into this fair value gap, I enter short. My PT or my stop loss was up near these highs. We started to displace lower. And then once we kind of started to hesitate here, I moved my stop to break even and I took it off. Right when I took it off, I realized there's no reason I should be taking off. We're still respecting the breaker. We're still respecting the imbalance. And the 5 minute looks like we want to sell off. Like the 5 minute is continuously rejecting this area. We can't seem to break higher. We look like, again, we're building low resistance liquidity. Notice all of these lows here, right? We're starting to build, again, we're generating sell side liquidity. All of these internal lows. What do we expect? We expect this to get ran through quick, right? A lot of the times when we're continually move up, creates a new short-term low, move up, creates a new short-term low, moves up. And then we expect most of the time this becomes low resistance liquidity. We expect to break back down out of the breaker. And I realized, I was like, this was way too clean. There's no reason I should be taking this off here. So I re-entered after we started to reject that imbalance one more time. And after this started to get ran through here, we started to hesitate. I was like, okay, we're most likely going to dump here. I'm going to get back in this, have my stop tight at this high. If it works, it works. If it doesn't, it doesn't. But this is definitely a setup that I'm okay with putting, again, half size on, half risk, and letting this go with my initial analysis, right? I think I took that first trade off too early. There was no reason for me to take it off at break even. Again, it's not a loss. It was good management. But in this specific case, there was nothing that really went against me that I should have taken it off here. And again, most of the time when I take off a break even anyway, I do want to have some of my position already scaled out when I move my stop to break even. But that wasn't the case. I didn't even have any position scaled here. I was still in my full position. So no really reason I needed to take this off here. So I immediately jumped back in. We sold off. I took my contracts off here, 2 of them. I took half off at this low, moved my stop to break even. We came back up, rejected the imbalance, and then ended up selling off to that low for that full trade, half off here, half off at the lows, and ended up paying really nicely, and it was a really, really nice setup. How many of you guys took this short today? Me. Nice. Okay. Yeah, this was probably one of the better setups, in my opinion, today. And the reason is, right, what makes this setup so good? And a lot of the times, for me personally, when I'm trading unicorns, when I'm trading in favor of the draw, whatever the model is, the best things that I need to see is a reason for us to go lower, right? And the reason why this model is so great here is because of this move, right? This move to the upside beforehand shows us price does not want to go higher. We know that this is just a move to generate more buy-side liquidity, because if this was going to become buy-side of the curve, all of these stacked highs here, again, continuous generated buy-side, we expect all of this to get ran. And I expect at least this initial high to get ran. But if I'm bearish, right, this just becomes more generated buy-side. So when I see us come up and reject on this 1 minute imbalance, when we're, again, back to OTE of the previous price leg, I expect us to most likely go lower. And keep in mind, too, we're also moving back to OT or equilibrium of the whole entire morning move. So once we reject this, I'm still waiting. This is when I really know this is going to become a valid setup, right? After moving back to OTE, after moving back to equilibrium of the range, it gives me a higher probability and a higher chance of price wanting to go lower. Because again, we've done what we've needed to do on the upside. Looking at this, right, there's no really reason for us to go higher. Price has shown what it wants to do. Because if we wanted to go run buy side, we would have already done it so far. But we came up, recognized what we're doing here, right? What's the reason why price is moving? What is the algorithm? What's the draw on liquidity? And when the price moves up here back to OTE and we end up rejecting, displacing through this recent low, this becomes the valid breaker on the bigger time frame, and this is when we can start looking to see price continue towards those lows, right? So we end up getting displacement, pullback, took that initial short, got stopped, re-entered, took advantage of it. So again, looking back, what did I do right? What did I do wrong? First trade, or this trade right here, didn't need to put my stop there. Again, I moved my stop initially from here to these highs. Again, if I followed that stop, I still wouldn't have gotten stopped out. What did I do right? I recognized what the mistake was immediately, and I re-entered. So a lot of the times, it's figuring out when you're allowing yourself to re-enter. Again, one of the things I constantly tell you guys is I allow myself 2 chances with the model. So if I get stopped or I get stopped at break even, I'll always allow myself another entry to be able to take advantage of the model. But if both of those fail, both of them stop, then I can't take it anymore. So for this specific model, right, breaker, once this sell side level gets taken, the model's complete. There's no reason I should be taking it. No reason I should be shorting. I need more structure, right? But once I got stopped on this, I realized I should probably get back in this. This model still looks great. There's no reason I should have taken this off. And so I recapitalized and I took advantage of it. So after that, don't really see much later. Took sell side and then started to kind of really chop the rest of the day. Yeah, not really much else opportunity. I think Johnny took a short up near here. I think he took it in this imbalance. I'm not sure. Do you guys who was in Johnny's live today and what did he take? I think it was up there. 15-minute bear fair value gap. Where was that? Let me see. The rejection here, but what was a smaller time frame entry? I think it was this 1-minute fair value gap. Something like that. 5-minute? Gotcha. Yeah, this 5-minute here. Okay, I gotcha. All right, let's clear the chart a little bit here. And I do want to talk about, again, before we get into the trades you guys took, because I do want to see it, I want to talk about what I'm looking at going into tomorrow, and I kind of want to talk about the price action that we're starting to see and what I want to expect to see, right? Now, number one, Monday market, we have this big move to the left of us. We're starting to see some displacement towards the downside. We're starting to see some action. I'm absolutely expecting another manipulation. I'm absolutely expecting a move lower. So I'm very, very confident we absolutely are going to see this low get broken. Maybe on ES, maybe on NQ, maybe we form SMT and then move up. But notice, again, low resistance liquidity starting to build here. I am expecting a move lower. And the reason is as well is because this is the accumulation that we're starting to see. This is starting to become possible power of 3. All this accumulation expecting us to form a manipulation move. Now, does this mean we won't go lower? Not at all. We can absolutely still go lower. We can absolutely continue to displace, possibly in the overnight session, and start to dig back deeper. Again, we're nowhere near discount of this range, right? We're nowhere near discount of this range. We have all of these imbalances to the left of us. That's why it's hard to figure out where we want to bounce. So it's always a key right now to focus on the internal structure to see what we want to do. Now, what I will say is the reason I say this is because this daily candle is showing, in my opinion, we want to see lower going into tomorrow. We have this big daily for value gap opened up. We know this low is going to become the drawn liquidity. So I am very, very confident we're at least going to reach back into this low. We're at least going to continue lower, tap back into this daily, and reach back into this low, right? This is going to become that daily drawn liquidity for sell side. Depending on what happens tomorrow, I really would not like to see this get taken in the overnight session. This probably will get taken in the overnight session, this recent low. I hope it doesn't. I'm hoping we have some form of manipulation of the upside, possibly move up higher to take some of these internal highs here and then move back lower. Again, zooming back in, possibly come up, take some of these internal lows. Again, this was a manipulation. Would look possibly to see this high get manipulated and then look to sell back off towards this low. But I definitely think we're going to have another manipulation move. So going into tomorrow, again, my bias is loose. I'm bearish, but I'm looking for manipulation. I'm looking to see what price wants to do. If market gives me an opportunity to continue to see price lower, I'm going to take it, especially if this daily low is not taken. If this daily low is not taken, I want to see the overnight session start to work our way back up, manipulate these highs, and start to see a sell-off in the morning session. session and look to see lower and move our way back into that daily fair value gap, right? So this is kind of what I would want to see going into tomorrow. We'll see what happens in the overnight session. But from here, right, once this low gets taken, let's say we wake up tomorrow and this low's already taken, I want to see the displacement of this area. If we start to sell off and we end up waking up tomorrow and the market looks like this, I'm going to be a little bit more bullish, right? This is what I would want to see if I'm a bullish bias, right? So depending on what happens in the overnight session, if I wake up and the market looks like this, I'm going to be expecting higher prices, right? Because bigger time frame, this is going to become the accumulation before that early manipulation. And then I would want to see, again, these previous highs start to get ran. So I'd be looking to see the buy model, looking to see low risk entries to possibly target these internal highs that we've been forming, right? So that's my bias going into tomorrow. We'll see what happens in the overnight session. Let's take a look at some of the trades you guys took. What do you think about this long in the AM? Yeah, like I said, this is a great model. The only reason I didn't take it, it was right before open. And the slippage on it could have been bad. Again, because if you're trading the open and this ends up dumping on you, your stop is not going to get filled. Your stop will not get filled. It will run right through your stop, and you will end up taking a massive loss on this instead of the loss that you end up planning for. Why would you long on the first entry if there wasn't any significant displacement? I hesitated because of the shorter lack of excitement candle from the breaker. Great question. So zooming back, right? This is the displacement I want to see. Notice there's no displacement beforehand. And I know that this move to the upside most likely isn't going in here. Now, I'm targeting here because I want this to be market maker buy model. But once I realize we failed to displace through here and we start to sell, this becomes that manipulation that I'm watching for, right? So once this high ends up getting broken through, this becomes that internal breaker that I'm looking to see. And this is when I take that long. We tap back into the breaker, really good risk on this, and I want to start to see us move back up, especially, again, SMT at the lows as well. I would have liked to see SMT on the bigger time frame, but we don't have any bigger time frame structure, and that's why I was de-risked today, right? I'm trading half size today and going into the rest of the week, and it's all about recognizing, right? If you might think that it's not a good setup, don't take it, even if I take it, right? It doesn't matter. Do not take trades that I take unless you have confidence with it, unless you have confluence and can conviction with it. And I'm one of the only people that are going to say that. I'm not a signal person. People come to the community. Again, you can absolutely take the signals. I mean, there's nothing I can do to stop you. But for the people that want to learn and the people that are going to stay in this community for a long time and the people that are going to actually be successful traders, the reason is overlapping that conviction, right? Use me as conviction for your own. See if we're seeing the same things, see if we're not seeing the same things, and trust your intuition, trust your instincts. Our whole goal here is to be able to build self-sufficient people, right? For you guys to be able to see things I might not see, for me to see things you might not see, and for us to come together and converse and talk about these ideas and figure out, okay, what's right, what's wrong, what are we doing? And sometimes we're both right, sometimes one's right, one's wrong, and sometimes we're both wrong. It's figuring out those things and constantly learning with each other. External SSL on ES was also taken. Yes, this looks great. Again, this was the internal. Yeah, this would have been a better entry, to be honest. Really low risk here. I would say leave a runner on this. Great entry. SMT took the breaker block in the fair value gap. That's that smaller time frame unicorn. Took that entry. Good risk on this. I would say scale here, but let something go here because, again, bigger time frame, when you see this high get displaced through, you know price most likely is going higher anyway. So use this as the standard deviation, right? Use this move as the manipulation and have some extra projected targets for you to take something off, right? We have these imbalances to the left. You set some runners there just to squeeze out because you know if we're going to displace through this high anyway, which you're looking to see, we're most likely going higher. Took the same short as you without seeing the alert, which added a lot of conviction for me. But what do you think about my entry and stop loss? I wanted to loose my stop in case we wanted to pump to the higher fair value gap. Do you think I should have added in the higher imbalance or waited to enter in the imbalance? Let's take a look. This is not bad. It's not a bad entry. Again, when trading this kind of market conditions, it's always going to be move back to OTE. Move back to OTE, right? When you look at the market today and you notice every single move that we have, we are always retracing back to OTE. We sell off. Where do we go? Back to OTE of this price leg, right? We sell off again. Where do we go? Back to OTE of this internal price leg, right? We have this whole move down to the downside. Where do we go? Back to OTE of this entire price leg. So a lot of the times when you're looking to take, normal entries of what we would expect, which is, tap in this and then continue to dump, which is like very, very efficient and volatile price action. A lot of the times you're not going to get that. We're going to move back to equilibrium. We're going to move back to whatever the premium or discount array is before selling or pumping. And so this is not a bad entry. I think your risk needs to be these recent highs. Again, the model still ends up playing out. Yeah, it's not a bad entry. It's not bad. I would say, again, you could maybe squeeze out a little bit more of a fill here, back up in these imbalances, this breaker here, this little order block. And it's not really a breaker, but it adds some little confluence with this fair value gap up here. But it's not bad. Again, you take advantage of the bigger time frame model. It's zooming in and finding that best entry to get the best risk, right? Yeah, this looked great today too, Nemi. Well, again, I marked the same thing out today. That breaker looked really, really good. This looked like not a bad short whatsoever. Again, bigger time frame SMT. This short looks way better than I thought it was when actually looking at it, because I didn't realize that we had this big SMT here. But when we had that displacement, moved back to OTE of that range, sold off, had the internal breaker as well. This looked beautiful. This is a great short. This looks great, Nemi. Keep it up. Again, same trade. Looks great. Keep it up. Clean, clean, clean. Damn, I didn't know futures skip stops too, like stocks if it moves fast. Yikes. Yep. Always be careful. Again, like I said, the only way that I let my trades go into market open is if I have a cushion. If you ever see me trade pre-market, a lot of the time, by the time market opens, I am already significantly in profit. So even if market's going to have a manipulation move, I'm fine with having that extra risk. The reason why I didn't take this entry here is because there is a probability that I set my stop here and we end up just having this kind of manipulation move. My stop doesn't get filled and then I end up getting filled down here, right? And then I just have unnecessary risk, unnecessary loss. And it's just, I'd rather just wait for the market to open, see what we want to do first, let price start to settle out, figure out what the draw is. Because again, the draw on liquidity going into the day two was also really loose. Even again, this setup looked great. The setup looked really, really good. SMT at the lows, sell side got taken, displacement, fair value gap, clean buy side. Great setup. It's just the context and the conditions of it made me want to stay out and just sort of watch it and wait for the morning confirmation and confluence of what we wanted to do. Was the entries okay on this trade? Yes, this looks great. Again, same trade, waited for the bigger time frame, rejection, came back, took the short. Looks great. Added here, continue to sell side. Beautiful, brother. Looks great. Question about validity. I'm going to guess you said volatility. Of this daily rejection block dated 11/22/21, if still valid, then today it double tapped 25% of the wick. Thank you, because I wanted to know how far back the data I need to use. Yes, this is still valid. I would watch this and the wick of it. Keep in mind, though, without contracts adjusted, we've already broken through it. This was a 3-minute fair value gap on the trade you caught to the downside, SMT at the highs, and I entered off that rejection. Is this a bad trade because we already had taken that low? I thought it was fine because the 5-minute had me thinking I wanted to go to the external low. Yeah, again, this looks good. SMT, rejection of the imbalance. You waited for the manipulation, the SMT formed, you took it afterwards, targeting the internal low. This is a high-quality setup, looks great. An external draw still lower as well. You're trading the internal model here, but tight, right? And this is what we want to do. When we're in this kind of market, when on a bigger time frame, we don't have much structure, your bigger time frame structure becomes the 15-minute, the 5-minute, right? And then we zoom into the 1-minute and the 15-second and the 30-second to gain that confluence, right? This is my bigger time frame model, right? Let's imagine I'm looking at a 15-minute chart here. I am taking the same entries I would normally, right? I'm waiting for the rejection, coming into the breaker, reject, right? I'm looking for the SMT, rejection of the bigger time frame imbalance here. Again, if I'm looking at a 15-minute and I come into the day and I'm zooming in on the slower time frame and I see an SMT here, this is a beautiful short. Again, it's the exact same model I would be looking for on any other time frame. Imagine that I'm looking at a 5-minute chart right now and I zoom in and say there was a little 1-minute entry there after the SMT displacement, draw on liquidity still lower. Fantastic. Looks great, right? The same models that we're looking to trade on every time frame. This was almost the same trade you took. You see, this was a 15-minute order block that got tapped into, then seeing a fair value gap get tapped into, waited, then got respected again, proceeding to displace, then I entered. It was also an OTE of the range, excited to trade when seen at SMT, by the way, use regular NAS chart. Again, same trade, looks clean. A lot of you guys took the same trade. Love to see it. Again, when we're all taking the same trade, we're doing something right. It means we're doing something right. Love to see it. Only trade I took today, I thought it was decent thoughts. Would highly appreciate it. It's not bad. I think for me, it's just too volatile. After we get a massive pump like this and we come back down and we start holding this imbalance, it's not bad. It's just very volatile. And especially for the Monday morning, I want to wait for the first 15, 20 minutes to see what price starts to do and start to settle. But it's not bad. It's not bad. 5 minute, 1 minute, also an OTE range, a bit confused why it didn't hit. Let's see. 5 minute fair value gap. You took the short. SMT. Pull back to the 5 minute. Yeah, this looks fine. I think your risk is just a little bit too tight here, though. Risk is way too tight. Again, I guarantee you this ended up selling off. Did this end up selling off? What was this on? Was this on NAS today? Where was this? This is not a 3 drive. This is not a 3 drive. Why is this not a 3 drive? Someone tell me. A 3 drive has to be higher highs at highs or lows, right? So this is consecutive. This becomes low resistance liquidity, not 3 drive. 3 drive has to look like this. Higher high, higher high, higher high. That's a 3 drive. I think you're just positioned yourself too tight here. But I don't think it's a bad setup. I think it's a fine loss. It's good to see that also through your educational trade ideas, I would rather call it, is kind of also a proof that your profit isn't, it's not only for selling course/live streams. For me, it shows confidence that you are teaching what you do. Much love, Ghost. Thank you, brother. The 2 trades here in the AM got stopped out on the first one, but recognized it was a stop hunt, so re-entered with targeting the lows. Still hadn't been taken both fair value gaps on the 1 minute. I think this is too early because there's no displacement through a low. Pull back to this imbalance. This is the first imbalance that gets created, but there's no displacement through this low. So again, you become liquidity here. You become the manipulation. You get stopped out, right? There's no displacement through any low. Why is this trade better? Because we sell off in the range beforehand. Notice why. This becomes the bigger time frame imbalance. Displacement. This creates low resistance liquidity. All these generated lows. This becomes relative equal lows. Acts as sell side. We're generating sell side liquidity before moving back to OTE. Previous fair value gap. This is a lot better short entry than this. Do you recognize why? Took a long off 3 minute unicorn market maker buy model rejecting 15 minute. Got stopped at break even. Wanted to see the equal highs on ES get taken. Let's see it. Again, not too bad. Looks fine. You positioned yourself right, took a good entry, took a good scale. You let your contracts run. Rest got at break even. Fantastic. Great trade. Some sauce for you. Usually at 8:30 red folders, it was the manipulation, and 9:30 will be straight to the draw and liquidity. No, 8:30 and open will be the manipulation. Almost every time ICT post trades through open, it's at 8:30 news drivers. Wait, some sauce for you. Usually on 8:30 red folders, it will be the manipulation, and 9:30 will be straight to the draw and liquidity. No, 8:30 and open will be the manipulation. Almost every time ICT post trades through it and opens 8:30 news drivers. Interesting. Interesting. I definitely want to continue to watch that. 8:30 news. We have Thursday. We have 8:30 news Thursday. So I'm curious. I definitely want to remind me that, Nemi. Talk on Thursday at me, and I want to watch to see what happens. I'm curious. I want to backtest that a little bit. Thanks for addressing that about skips. Very interesting and good to know, of course. Took this as well. Again, looks clean, brother. Thanks for the clarification. Yeah, had B-80J that. Thanks. I got you. What actually is a 3 drive? 3 drive is just an ICT concept that shows exhaustion. That's pretty much all it is. It's just exhaustion. So when we fail to break, right, 3 drive at the lows, right, when we fail to displace lower, it shows exhaustion for wanting to go lower, right? It shows exhaustion, and that's when we can expect to see a move back higher, right? Any thoughts? I can't really tell why you took this trade off of this. I mean, there's an order block to the left of you, a fair value up to the order block, and I don't. This is against your bias. I need to see more structure. I don't understand why you took this. To me, it looks like you have a triangle here, and you took the breakout of the, you took a breakout. So I can't really tell. Do you feel like you're going to add more things to your strategy, or is it a point in your journey psychology? That's a great question. There can be. I mean, again, I'm always focusing on learning and continue to learn, continue to backtest my models. There's going to be times when, again, like things like that, what Nemit said, things about news and times in the algorithm, which you'll see things start to repeat, right? 8:30 a.m. news, you'll see manipulation, and the 9:30 run, right? Things like that. The more you constantly start to focus on learning and recognizing these things, it'll continue to build on your strategy and just continue to refine it. So it's not about learning new things, it's about refining. Been struggling with my stop loss placement, and I feel like I never know when to give something more room and when to tighten risk. Okay. One of the biggest things that I'll say about stops is if you're having stop loss problems and you find yourself getting stopped out a lot and then the price ends up running in your favor, lower your size, loosen your stop. Like, it's that simple. Lower your size, loosen your stop, so you're risking the same as what you would normally risk, but you're giving yourself more room. I often get confused with how to draw breakers out when they're different in different time frames. For instance, it might be a larger breaker on the 5 minute and a smaller one on the 1 minute. How do you predict which time frame breakers will give the reaction? When I'm looking for a breaker, I want to see an up close candle and a down close candle, right? So the reason why I mark this as a breaker, right here, right, is you're like, on the smaller time frame, it's kind of, there's no really breaker here, right? There's no really clean breaker. When I zoom out, though, I know this is most likely going to be a breaker. Why? Because this is slower. On the smaller time frame, it's consolidation, and we get displacement through it. So I zoom out. Okay, does this become a down close candle? No, there's still consolidation. Okay, I zoom out again. Does this become a down close candle? No, there's still consolidation. Okay, let me zoom out again. 4 minute. Does this become a down close candle? Okay, a little bit better. Go to a 5 minute. This is the best I get. These 2 down close candles becomes the breaker. These 2, both of these, because these are both the down close candles that become the breaker. And I mark this whole thing as the breaker. Yes, I keep B-ADJ on. You said your new masterclass will have models you never shared before. Haven't you shared a trade? You trade live every day. Do we see how you trade? You do. Okay, okay, let's talk about this. What do I mean by that? Models I haven't shared. The way that I'm setting up this masterclass is being able to explain the way I view the market in my eyes in a way that I haven't done before. I've tried to do it, and I have done it a lot in the past, like a really good way. But my goal is to really put you guys in my eyes, like how I view the market every single second of the day, what I'm looking for, constantly being fed data, and how that data affects my model and how I understand where the market wants to go through my experience. And it's all through my eyes, because it's hard for people to teach that because it's experience. You can't teach experience, right? But my goal is to teach that. And it's how I view the market and my eyes with how I view my models. And it all will change, because you'll notice sometimes my models don't look exactly the same, but they have similar characteristics and they have similar ideas. And there's reasons why those line up, and there's reasons why some of them don't line up. And my goal is to teach that. Speaking of breaker, could you please explain what a breaker is and how to easily spot one? I watched Johnny's video and I had troubles understanding it. For me, breaker has everything to do with context. The reason why people fail with breakers is because they think of it as a regular pattern, just like a fair value gap. A fair value gap is not a pattern. Without context, a fair value gap will get ran through. Fair value gap won't do anything without context, just like a breaker will not do anything without context, okay? If I see a breaker and I long it without context, right? There's no reason for us to go higher. There's no sell side swept. There's no SMT. There's no manipulation. There's no time. There's no macro. There's no time that's in price. There's no bigger time frame draw. All of these things are adding context, right? If I'm just see a breaker and I long it or short it, it's most likely going to get ran through because there's no context. You're just like every other pattern trader. You might as well trading breakouts on a downtrend, right? There has to be context. Now, why does this breaker work? Because there's context. What is the context here? We've had displacement in the morning. Number one, we've had manipulation at the highs early on in the morning. We came down. We bought a big move in the morning, manipulated the highs, immediately dumped. So now we have a massive 15-minute candle that just immediately inversed this massive move, right? This candle is very bearish. What am I expecting here? I'm expecting lower prices. Now, once we get displacement through this low, what do I expect to see? This is ICT scalp model, okay? What do we expect to see? Back to OTE of whatever the displacement move is, and I expect the draw to continue to be lower, right? This becomes generated buy side. When we end up getting displacement through here, we retrace back to where? Equilibrium of the price leg, OTE of the price leg of when we sold, right? From the recent high of the price leg from when we sold, we're back to OTE. We're rejecting the imbalance. We're rejecting the imbalance at OTE, and we get displacement back towards the lows. So what's the context here? Drawn liquidity now becomes lower. We're back in OTE. Price has rebalanced. Again, why does price move? Rebalance equilibrium, rebalance inefficiencies, hunt liquidity. We've done everything we needed to do here now. We have context. We've rebalanced equilibrium, we've rebalanced OTE, and the draw has become lower, right? We've been selling off the whole day. So this just is a move higher to continue to generate liquidity for buy side, for this to eventually get taken out before moving price lower to stop out all of the long traders and continue to price lower. Again, which is rebalancing price on the bigger time frame, right? Why are we going lower? And why are we going lower in the first place? Because we're looking to rebalance price on the bigger time frame. Because guess what? We're not in discount. We have this massive range here. So why are we going lower? To rebalance, right? 3 reasons why price moves. It all has to do with context. A breaker will not work unless there's context. Does that make sense? Hoping I explained that well. Yeah, OTE is optimal trade entry. Can you stay when the masterclass would start? I've been building up cash. The wait list should be coming out in the next 2 weeks. Will most likely start in March. It'll be all of March, most likely. And we'll be going through the applications in February. A breaker is an up close and down close candle that gets displaced through after rebalancing or taking some form of sell side. Again, that's the context. What color are you giving them? I have no idea. I'm actually thinking about making a separate server for it. Yes, it'll have homework. When do you know that price is retracing to continue lower rather than just displacing back to the upside? Sometimes I feel like I get super caught up in being afraid of market reversals. Great question. You don't. Trade what's shown and manage it, right? Is this a bad long? Not so ever. I took a long and I wanted to see us move back to here. But when you recognize, again, you're constantly being fed data. You're constantly being fed data. That doesn't mean it's wrong. It's not a bad trade. You saw everything you need to. It's all about management. SMT, displacement up, breaker. This could be buy side of the curve, right? This could be the manipulation. This could be buy side of the curve. I don't know. All my job is to do is look for a low risk entry with good risk, scale, and manage my position. So do we end up moving all the way back to buy side? No. Was this a winning trade? Yeah. That's all that matters. And then you recognize the new data being fed to you. Hey, this is not buy side of the curve, because guess what? If this is buy side of the curve and we were going to go hunt these highs, this would have gotten ran through and we would have displaced through this high and we wouldn't have sold back off. Once this gets rejected and we sell back off, especially once we displace through here, I know there's no reason for us to go higher. There's nothing. There's no reason for us. It's not in relation to what the model is. Yeah, expectations for tomorrow, for anybody who's coming in late, I'm looking to see lower prices. This is becoming the daily fair value gap, right? Or the daily fair value gap. I want to see this low get hunted. From here, I want to see if we displace or have manipulation. I'm expecting lower prices going into tomorrow from this daily candle. I want to see what happens after this low, and I want to see whatever happens in the overnight session first, and then in the morning we'll go over that bias. But I'm bullish or bearish going into tomorrow, and want to see possible manipulation. Volume imbalance and fair value gaps combined. Great question. Volume imbalance and a fair value gap is literally just both of them. Where was the volume imbalance? Was it on the 1 hour? Where was it? Yeah, here. Like, again, this is a volume imbalance, right? This is a volume imbalance, right? But there's also a fair value gap. How do I draw this? Boom. Literally, that's literally it. You just add it, right? Do you use seasonals now that we're at these like quarterly theories? Is that what you're saying? SD settings? Yeah, I got you. No, I don't. Yeah, also looking at DXY, you're right, I forgot to go over this. DXY is very, very bullish right now. I want to see higher prices on DXY, which means I want to see lower prices on ES and NQ. We're continually holding this market maker buy model on the bigger time frame. We just had this internal sweep of liquidity. This is looking very, very bullish on DXY. So I want to see higher prices on the dollar, and I want to see lower prices on NQ and ES going into this week. How would you size your trades on a 10K personal account? Great question. It's different. Like, my Robin's account is 10K. I haven't touched it. And I'll probably be trading different size depending on the setup. When managing a 10K account, in any sort of like account like that, 10K or below, your goal is to build a cushion and get comfortable with it. So trade low size. You should be risking $200 per trade, and that's still pretty, again, a lot, but I like that for me. And continue to build a cushion, and then slowly up your size over time. But I would say your max loss should be around 200 at most. Do you know what your average stop loss size is? Like my point, the tick basis, or the actual dollar amount? Points, it'll change. So I adjust my size based off the risk. How much of a cushion you would say before upping the size? At least 5K. At least. I'm profitable, but now I have been stuck with the break-even curse since December. What would you recommend doing to get my mind right? December made me lose conviction and confidence and kind of burnt out, I feel, maybe. Okay, what I'll say is this. There is no reason you should be, and I'll tell you exactly why. The market is at a point in time, and you are at a point in time in your journey. Again, This is something that nobody else will tell you. Nobody else will tell you this and tell you that this is exactly what is okay with trading. We are at a point in the market where it is completely okay for you to start seeing slower results, slower growth, slower improvements, because we're at a point in the market where you are practicing. Again, we talked about this last night. The market is constantly giving you opportunity. That opportunity might not be to make money, but that opportunity is to practice the muscles of what you need to be focusing on to grow as a trader. Which means, hey, you might get slower conditions. You might get inefficient action. This gives you the opportunity to work on things like defense, position management, understanding patience and discipline, being able to understand when and when not to trade, right? Slow growth is fine. It might seem like slow growth, but you are exponentially growing mentally and as a trader. You might not see the growth in your account, but you are growing. Trust me. And this is a point in time where you should not feel like you are stuck or you're like that. You should be, again, continually focusing on building good habits and understanding and growing as the trader, and use the market to tell you what you should be focusing on right now, right? We're at all-time highs. We're not really getting high quality opportunity. It'll come. It will come. Trust me. And when it comes, we will bank. But our goal right now is to focus on what the market is telling us to focus on, which is capital preservation, building conviction, trading lower size, and just focusing on building that patience and discipline until the market gives us what we want to see. I got you, brother. I got you. I'm trying to build profitability. Is it better to follow along on your live trading more or continue to grow my own conviction and trade? Both. I would say split the week up. Trade on days that you know you'll make mistakes with me. So a lot of the times that's no news Mondays. A lot of the time people will come into the Monday after the weekend. A lot of people are jumping to get into trades on Mondays. A lot of the times when people that come into my like, I have actually a question. How many of you guys find it easier? Because I've never actually asked this question. How many of you guys find it easier to control yourself, easier to stay more patient and disciplined when you're trading with me? Okay, a lot of people. And that's the point. A lot of people need a little bit of accountability. And the reason why I want that is because when I was trading, I didn't have that. It was constantly me, which helped me get to a level of discipline that was great. But many people, and I think it's important to have that extra layer of accountability, right? Being able to trade with me, come on the lives and say, oh, I look like this. And I'm saying, guys, wait, be patient. Let the market play out here. Give us some understanding of what we want to do. And when you get that, that person in your ear that's telling you, you start to relax a little bit. You start to calm down. You're like, you know what? You're right. Let's sit here. Let's watch. And that helps you out. But are there days where I want you to trade on yourself? Yes, but those need to be higher probability days. Take Wednesdays, right? If we have CPI or Red Folder News, take that, trade the first 30 minutes, the first hour, look what you want, and then come to the live session. Say, hey, Justin, trade the first hour. We did this. What did you guys do? And then connect. And now we come back together, right? But taking that time off by yourself to build conviction is also important. It's both, right? It's having that balance, working on both sides. Put me in, coach. I do. I felt FOMO kicking in watching that run at open. Guys, I kept saying in the morning, seeing the volatility, I knew people are going to jump in here. In the morning this morning, when we are seeing market pump at open and then immediately dump, I am constantly saying, guys, wait, do not look at this market, FOMO into this. Do not FOMO into this. Watch this. I know it looks shiny, right? It's a shiny object in your face. Oh my God, volatility market. You're going to jump in, right? I know it's literally a shiny object that's being waved in your fucking face right now. You have to understand when to sit and watch, okay? Love it, Morpheus. That's exactly the place you need to be. I use Mondays to gather intel, plan my attack, plan the next move, and also if you want to be patient, don't open Discord. Sometimes I am patient and I don't want to trade until the first hour. For example, if I open Discord and see the chatter and excitement I get in moments later and break my patience. Discord is great for, but you got to control it. 100 voices saying do this or that, control it. Absolutely, I agree with this as well. Again, we are here to grow together. But if you're the type of person that is going to follow the crowd, and it affects your trading and you know it, shut it off for a little bit. Come into the live sessions. Don't look at the Discord chat, right? And then it all depends on the person. Let me in trade map beta now. You gotta wait. Yeah, Mo, this was a great setup. Like I said, this entry in the morning was great. The only reason I didn't take this is because I didn't have a cushion with it. Once we're going into the open, we could immediately have this manipulation. But like Nemi said, it could be the 8:30 bell. So again, I haven't built conviction enough for that, and that's why I didn't take it. Can I get some words for encouragement? Been with you for a year and still haven't passed a funded. Okay, well, I got to ask you this question then. What do you think the biggest problem is of why you haven't passed a funded? What's the reason you keep failing? Patience. Okay. Patience in what way? Do you take bad setups? Are you taking trades too early into the open? Are you journaling? That's the biggest question. Are you journaling? And be honest with me. Do not lie to me. Yes? Okay. That's good. Patience. I'm starting to improve it. Okay, that's great. Again, you need to be focused on those things. You will not pass a funded if your main focus is passing a funded because you're looking for constant opportunity. You're constantly looking at your P&L. Oh, let me check what my funded's at. Oh, I only need $300 more. Oh, my drawdown's this close. I can't take a loss. I can't do this. I can't do this. Why? You are thinking of complete outside factors that have nothing to do with the market and nothing to do with any sort of effect that's going to have on your trading. Why are you even looking or caring about it? Because all it does is it affects the outside perspective of what you're actually doing. You're focusing on the outcome, you're not focusing on the process, and you're letting it sway your intuition, you're letting it sway your decision making. And that's why people are failing. When you go into the market and your main concern is constantly looking, oh, let me check my top step, dashboard here. Oh, okay, I need to do this. All right, I'm going to go into the market. I need $300 to pass. Oh my God. That's when you start making mistakes because you're not focused on actually doing something. You're looking for opportunity to get the outcome and not focus on the process. I don't think I've ever seen somebody that has been on a funded that has been less than $500 away from passing their funded and not take a trade on that day. I don't think I've ever seen somebody come into a day where they have $500 left on their account and not take a trade that day. I don't think I've ever seen it. Why? Because they come into the day with the constant reminder in their fucking head, I have $500 left until I pass this funded. And that's constantly running in their brain every single time that they're trading. Why do you think they're failing? Why do you think you struggle with patience? Is because you are setting yourself up to struggle with patience. You're not realizing the psychological effects that you're focusing on. And that's why I constantly say the biggest reason why traders fail is because they're focused on the wrong things. People don't understand the psychological impact that comes with trading and the focus and the habits that you end up building over time that end up holding you back. Recently been helping my friend learn ICT, found myself more accountable taking trades that are more higher quality so that my friend knows what a high quality trade is. For that, I've been trading on my own and only coming here during the night sessions to review trades. Been doing that for 2 months now. Found myself taking trades same as yours by myself without being on live with you. I feel like I'm there finally putting my foot on the starting line. Let's go, Richard. Love to hear it, brother. Keep it up, man. That makes me happy to hear. Try to find the Twitter post, but the archives of all ICT execution through open. Yeah, send it to me, Nemi, if you can find it. I've been with you for a year now, and I would say I've improved in the quality of a trade, and I trade way less, 2 to 3 trades a day at a legit most. Also, I take the trades that I can explain to a 5-year-old. I also have a checklist for a trade. Have patience, bro. You got this. Have passed 3 accounts so far. I got 4 payouts with it. Let's go, baby. Keep it up, brother. Justin only speaks in quotes. Yeah, also being near drawdown can fuck with you. Alrighty, guys. That is all I have for you guys tonight. Hopefully you enjoyed tonight's session. Again, great talks. Every single night. Every single night, guys. Every single night. Notice. Take a look right now. Look at how many people in here we have. Take a look. Compare that to how many people we have in the trading sessions. You are the 130 people that are putting in the work, that care about becoming successful, that aren't taking no for an answer, that aren't focusing on handouts. You guys want to improve, and I respect each and every single one of you, and I'm ready to see everybody start to succeed. You guys are fucking killing it every single night, every single day. We are constantly learning, constantly improving. We're going to fucking keep killing it this year. I'm super excited. Let's keep at it. Get some rest. Get some work done. I will see you all tomorrow morning. Let's have a great day. Let's keep going. Let's have a great rest of our week. We're on a little bit of a streak here. Again, that's not in my head, but let's keep it going. Let's keep up the success. Keep focusing on good things, and let's keep killing it, guys. All right. Enjoy the rest of your night. I will see you all tomorrow. Peace.